Hello, bitches and bros and non-binary hoes. It's Romania Black, and we are on episode 9 of Sk8 The Infinity. Hey, buddy. But I recently watched episode 8 in the English dub, and it did not disappoint. The angst is still there, the pain is still there, but that line by David Wald for Adam... chef's kiss. And you know, I've had some people on Twitter complain about it, but the English sub is literally, hey, people that love skateboarding. Well, people that love skateboarding technically includes bitches, bros, and non-binary hoes. So he's not changing the meaning. He's just elaborating, using an artistic license to elaborate on a line, and it's still in character, and I love it. And plus, if you've ever watched the behind the scenes on dubbing, especially English dubs from Japanese, trying to find an English translation that fits the lip movements of that Japanese dialogue is really hard. And so the fact that he ad-libbed that line, apparently, and it fit perfectly in the lip movements and worked, is just sheer genius. I'm all for it. I love it. But yeah, so... every episode of this show, we get more context, more characterization, more... I was talking on Discord about this a few episodes ago, but I didn't expect to be doing hour-long discussions of Sk8 The Infinity. I did not think I would be doing this, but I'm doing discussions that are just as long as my Banana Fish discussions. And Banana Fish is a way deeper show. But you know what? Sk8 The Infinity is a lot deeper than I think people give it credit for, and it does so much more characterization and delving into these characters and their psyche. And yes, the skating part is just fun, but it's just so good. How can you not talk about this show? It's just so fun, and it's the kind of symbolism and the kind of metaphors and the kind of characters that I can totally get into. And so I think that's why I love this show so much, is that it's checking off all of the boxes for me. I absolutely love it. And last episode, we got more into Adam, why he's the way that he is. We got more into, like, Reki's psyche, and he's not in a good place. We got Langa trying to figure things out. We've got a tournament started. Tadashi's freaking snake just coming in. And, oh, you guys. They just released on Twitter a little thing of all of the Sk8 The Infinity characters in like little animal costumes, and it's really cute. I can't figure out what Joe is. I think maybe somebody on Discord said he might be a lion. Maybe. But Kaoru Cherry is a bunny. Fitting. Reki is a dog. He looks like a little stray. It's like the tramp. Very fitting. Langa is the Yeti, like on a skateboard. Hiromi is a tulip. Shadow's a tulip, which fits the flower shop. I love it. Mia's obviously a cat. But then you have Tadashi and Adam's a peacock. Of course he is. And then Tadashi is the snake. And I'm like, I love it, guys. And so last episode, we didn't get the resolution to the angst. I got something that I want to say about structure in this series, but I think I'm going to wait till after the episode, so I'm going to make myself a little tiny note here out to the side about structure, because this is a 12-episode season, and I, being an English major, I'm all into like the 3-act structure, and I talk about that a lot in my classes, and so I'm like, okay, so I'm going to go back and talk to that after the episode, because I have a theory, but I want to wait and see if it pans out this episode and see what happens. So I'm going to hold that little note there until the end to talk about it. But yeah, we have this tournament started, and so far Shadow has beaten Harry, the no-name guy, and it's Joe versus Langa. And I think that Langa's going to win because we're all leading up to Adam facing somebody. I figure it's going to be Adam facing Tadashi, because that's what Tadashi's like, I'm going to take you down, you're not going to be able to skate anymore. But Langa's got to fit in there somehow, because obviously Langa and Adam, they didn't get to finish their skating match. So my fear is that we've got Shadow's already won his heat, so he's good. And I'm assuming that Shadow might have to face whoever wins between Langa and Joe, which I think is going to be Langa. And I think Langa obviously is going to be Shadow. So then that leaves Mia, Tadashi, Cherry, and Adam. And like I said in the last episode, I think that Tadashi is going to face Mia and beat Mia, obviously. And that's going to put Cherry versus Adam. And that makes me worried, because Cherry last episode clearly is out to get Adam for whatever has happened to them in the past that we don't know, that we need a flashback for, and we haven't got that yet. So I'm curious what we're going to be doing about that. But I don't know. This episode's called We Were Special Back Then, which gives me flashbacky vibes. Like, are we going to get this with Tadashi and Adam? Are we going to get this with Joe and Cherry? Because we get that brief moment of the three of them. Like, I think it was if it wasn't last episode, it was the episode before in 7, where we got Joe, Cherry, and Adam together. So I'm like, are we going to get more of that? We should. So, you guys, I'm so hyped. Today's just been one of those days where you get off work and you want to watch some reactions, because it's just been one of those days where you're just like all hyped up. And so I just got done watching Free, and I'm like, I want to watch Sk8 The Infinity now. So I'm so excited, you guys. It's time. It is time. So let's do this. Let's dive into Sk8 The Infinity, episode 9. We Were Special Back Then. Oh my gosh, you guys. We are going to start this bad boy here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And let's go. I think that each episode I'm gonna be like, oh no, it's fine. It's all good. We're great. I won't have a lot to talk about. I'm floored, y'all, because I didn't expect. I thought we'd get Tadashi versus Mia this episode. I figured Long would win, but it's just all the things happening in that after scene, the before preview, the after credit scene. You guys! Okay, there's a lot to talk about with this episode, as per the Sk8 The Infinity usual. Okay. So Joe, oh my God, Joe. The parallels between Joe and Reki continue in lots of ways. I love the flashbacks. I was wanting flashbacks, and we're getting them, and I'm all here for it. But the idea that Joe and Cherry in high school were kind of like Langa and Reki, and they're both the only ones in the one flashback with the gang. They're the only ones in the school uniforms, so I'm guessing that they're the only two that went to school together, and the other guys are just guys that just joined their group from skating. And they're the founders of the S with Adam, so they probably had little skate groups that they joined and everything like that. But I love that Joe remembers all of these things. Joe remembers, like, the skateboarding moves. He's very, like, nostalgic and remembers all these things, particularly things that are tied to Cherry, to Kaoru. And Kaoru remembers things tied to Joe. As we established in episode 6, he remembers that Joe's like haunted houses and things like that. So these two have known each other for a long time, like for a decade at least. And they've been friends. They know each other very well. Reki and Joe are very detail specific. They're very like detail oriented, nostalgic people. Like they remember things in specific details. Like Reki does. He knows all these like fine-tuned specifics about skateboarding, things like that, and Joe's kind of the same way. Whereas, like I said in the reaction, Langa and Cherry seem more like overarchingly emotional driven with their nostalgia or their memories. Joe, core of a god. Like literally. How even? That part was fun. I figured Langa would win. I did not anticipate that Reki would be the one that they'd lock eyes, and then Reki would be like his inspiration to keep going and winning. And Reki, I just want to like grab Reki by the shoulders and shake him, because I really like Reki as a character, and I totally understand what he's going through, and I understand Reki's angst, but I just want to like grab him and be like, can't you see Langa loves you? And you clearly love Langa? Because Langa, like the rest of the episode, Langa didn't even give a care in the world about what was going on. He was like, where's Reki? Like wandering around like a lost puppy, trying to find Reki. And Reki giving his pin up, like turning his pin in, like he was going to quit the S. And that's so tragic because from episode 1, we've established that Reki was so excited. He was like, Langa, this pin is so important. And it gets you into the secret world. But Reki's like, what kills me is Reki realizes, he's like, I don't want to just support Langa. I want to skate with him. And I'm like, then talk to him and skate with him. Damn it. You frustrating teenage boys. Make up. And that just killed me that he turned that in. And I thought for a second he was turning it into Tadashi. But Tadashi's in the snake outfit, but he was with the other group. So I'm assuming, so I'm like, what's going to happen with his pin? And Langa broke his board. So, and I love that, such given parallels when Langa was like, can we fix it? And Joe, Woo in the Discord on Patreon, she was like, there's a lot of ties to Haruki and Joe, and I totally see it. I see a lot of ties to Reki and Haruki, because Reki and Haruki both think that they're kind of dispensable, and they're not. They're essential to the group, and Langa realizes that. But Joe's kind of the same way. Joe realizes too, whenever Langa's like, my board's broken, what do I do? Can we fix it? And Joe's like, yeah, you could buy a new one. That'd be easier and quicker. And Langa's like, no, it has to be this one. Because Reki made it special for him with the wheels and everything. And Joe's like, well, Reki made that for you. Like, he instantly put 2 and 2 together. And Joe's like, I know what's up. And he's like, you need to go find Joe and talk to him. You need to go find Reki and talk to him. And Langa's like, yes. And so he gets laser focused and like goes and looks around for him. And oh my god. And Reki's just, I just want to just shake him. Because he gets happy for a second that Langa's catching up and winning. And it's like, it's because of you. Langa won that race because he was inspired by you. Like, him competing against Joe didn't get his heart racing, but the moment he thought of Reki, it like, the Doki Doki happened, and it was like, gah. So, okay. So there's all that, and Langa looking for Reki, and at the end, like, Adam's like, you're my Eve, and Langa's like, oh wait, what were we talking about? What am I involved with? Who's Eve? And it's like, Adam this episode. Okay. Y'all, I've seen a lot of strong feelings about Adam on Twitter, and a lot of hatred of Adam. And for a while, up until this episode, I was like, Adam is the antagonist. Of course we're not supposed to like him. We're not supposed to like Adam. He's the antagonist. He's the obstacle for our protagonists. But I've really enjoyed delving into Adam's psyche and his character because I find it very interesting. And there's a lot under the surface with Adam. And this episode, so interesting. But in one respect, yes, I see now why people don't like Adam. Because that was cruel. That was brutal. That was savage. That was just... And I'm so fascinated by this. It's a love triangle, y'all. It's a love quad. It is a square. I don't know if it's really a square because Tadashi only likes Adam. Tadashi doesn't care about these others. Tadashi is like a one-way ticket to Adam Town. And Joe is a one-way ticket to Cherry Town. So Joe and Tadashi, they are one-way streets in their love. They're like, nope, we like one guy, and it's Tadashi and Adam, Joe and Cherry. But this whole thing with Cherry and Adam, I didn't put 2 and 2 together until the whole first scene and Cherry's face. Like, I got that Cherry was mad at Adam, and I was like, okay, well, Cherry's mad at Adam, and I thought it was something that maybe Adam had done to Joe, because Cherry clearly likes Joe, and so I thought maybe Adam had said something or dissed Joe or something, and that's why Cherry was mad. It's way more complicated than that. It's a bit more complicated. And this is probably the first time we've ever seen Adam just be quiet. Like a quiet Adam. The last time we saw Adam quiet was last episode when Tadashi was revealed as Snake, when Adam figured that out and he dropped the cigarette, and that was like, oh. Because Adam's whole thing is, his creepy flamboyance is a persona. It is a mask. He is hiding how he really feels. The matador dancing, the flamenco, the tapping, the flamboyance, everything. It's all a show. It's all theatrics. It's just part of the pageantry. It's part of the show. Look at how fun I am. Adam doesn't feel that way on the inside. He is very conflicted. He's not happy. And like Joe said, he's skating alone. So that's why he acts so rashly, because he doesn't have anyone there to support him or feel supported by. And they make the comparison that, yeah, Langa is a lot like Adam. Somebody on Twitter commented that Adam is like what Langa would have been if he'd turned evil. And this episode, I see it. I see it. Because Langa is, like Joe said, Langa's kind of a monster too. He's quick and quick-witted about skateboarding. He thinks of solutions very easily. He comes up with problem-solving things and ways to get around certain angles and shortcuts and things like that. And he uses his skill and his natural talent to make it all work out. And it's very similar to Adam. But here's the thing. Langa doesn't think he's better than anybody. And Langa doesn't act superior. Langa is genuine about his emotions and his feelings for others, and he loves Reki. Like, he really likes him. And so, whereas Adam always seems to want somebody that he's superior to, but that will, like, be his dog, which is ironic because he has one already. He literally has that in front of them. He has Tadashi right in front of him, who is exactly what he wants, and he can't realize it. That's what's so frustrating. What Adam is looking for, Adam's Eve, is with Tadashi. It's right there, and he just can't see it, and it's frustrating. But Adam keeps searching for something he already has, and he's disappointed because he hasn't found it, and he just takes out his anger and frustration on others because they're not helping him find his goal. Whereas Langa, and I'm rewatching this episode as I'm talking to y'all, and the moment where Langa comes down off that beam, his foot hit that groove, and that's what snapped the board, and I'm just realizing that. But Langa doesn't want somebody to be superior to him. He wants a challenge and to skate against good skaters, but at the end of the day, he likes Reki. But Adam being quiet this episode, and the moment that Adam picked out Cherry's card, like, you instantly knew, because I think Adam thought he was going to face Tadashi. I think Adam thought the next time he was going to face Tadashi, and that was going to be their rematch. And he's like, okay, get this out of the way so I can face Langa. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened. And I've got to go to this point of, I want to go to this point of Adam coming into of us getting into the flashback, because Joe, of them picking the card, because Joe is not happy that it was picked. Yeah, you can tell Adam says, I didn't want to fight you. And Cherry's like, you've been dodging this fight. And he's like, oh, I have. And he's like, yeah, you have. You've been dodging all this. What's up? And, oh my gosh, and Joe's like, be careful. And Joe's really concerned about him, because Joe's like, yeah, Adam's dangerous. You've seen how he's been skating. Okay, you're doing this. All right, whatever. He's not the Adam that he used to be. And it's like, Adam's right in front of you hearing all of this, by the way. So there's that. But the fact of Adam being serious in this is, and here's the funny thing. Cherry is a good matchup for Adam. Cherry's talented, and he's a good skater. You would think that Adam would be all about it, all about this, but there's clearly history there. There is clearly more to it than just, oh, you're a good skater and you didn't get injured back in the day. And he can blame it on the AI, saying he's boring because he's predictable, because the AI is helping him with everything. But there's more to it than that. And the idea that he doesn't incite fear in Cherry. He doesn't incite that superiority, and he doesn't get excited by Cherry. So that's interesting. But this flashback, you guys, where we get this gang and we see these two gangs there, and Tadashi's not with them. Tadashi's not with them in the flashback. So I'm assuming that Tadashi was back at the mansion and wasn't allowed to skate. And we get this flashback with Cherry and Joe, And Adam seems to take an interest in Cherry because Cherry is really talented. And Adam seems to take an interest in him. And I wanted to kind of see what was on his skateboard, because he has that little skateboard, and I wanted to see what was on his old skateboard, like what it was. Because it's kind of like ice. It's kind of like blue and ice, kind of like Langa's, which is interesting. But I can't see the detail. But the moment he jumped over that one thing, and Cherry's like, every day felt like a festival, and you see the sparkle in his eyes, it's like, oh, Cherry liked Adam. Cherry had a crush on Adam. That was clearly unrequited. And so we get that, the ramp and everything, and Cherry's like, he's like, everybody was enchanted by you. Okay, what is that on his board? I'm looking at his board. I'm trying to find, it's an A. It looks like lightning bolts, and it's like an A. It's like a weird A that's been drawn on there. That's interesting. So it's I'm guessing that's the skateboard that was burned by the dad. The board with the A on it for Inosuke. I'm guessing that's the board that was burned. But I like how Joe, it's kind of like what Reki and Langa did with Reki and Langa. Joe and Cherry kind of became friends with him. And it shows them all scuffed up and stuff and chasing after, running away from the police and going back to the hospital. Like, they all were really good friends. And then stuff happened. And they didn't have that friendship anymore. And it's, and the part where Cherry, like, nearly falls and Adam saves him. Like, very similar to how Langa grabbed Reki. Like, And I like that there's this notion that Adam had his hood up the whole time. Like, that was his persona, his identity. And then he lets the hood down like he's taking the mask off to let his hair flow out. And Cherry's like, oh, your identity. And he's like, oh, it's fine. He's like, doesn't matter if you see me. It's like, you guys are special. And he looks so handsome there. Like, Adam looks really good there and, like, so soft. And Cherry's just like, doki doki, like, oh my god. And clearly something's happened. Something happened between them. And Adam, yeah, and you wonder if Adam's thinking the same thing, like something clearly happened to separate them, and Joe's looking on, like, worried too, like things aren't good. And I know your true self. And that, I think that was the breaking point when Cherry said, I know your true self. I think that's what put Adam over the edge. And he's like, come on, Carla, let's beat him. I'm not an opponent you can win against if you're showing mercy like that. It was those lines. Yeah, the I know your true self and, oh, you're showing me mercy, I'm going to win then. And then Adam comes up. And, oh my god, this whole scene here floored me. And just Adam not dropping. And then Reki gives the pin back. Reki gives the pin back, and I'm like, it wasn't Tadashi, though, that got the pin. And we do cut to Tadashi. We do cut to him to, I guess, show that he wasn't the one that took his pin. Yeah. And then we get this flashback where Tadashi, he says, Mr. Inosuke has changed. And we get this really cute flashback with him and Tadashi, like, skateboarding against all the roses in the garden. And it's all the red roses, red and white and pink. Like, there's the muted colors that are kind of for Tadashi and the red roses for Inosuke. And Tadashi's, like, pushing him on the skateboard. And it's not, I guess it's his skateboard. It's my fault. And the moment he said, it's my fault, and we cut to him, all I could think of is, we talk about the Garden of Eden and the metaphor of the snake in the garden. And is the knowledge that Adam gained the knowledge of skateboarding? Like, the idea that he could be competitive through skateboarding? Is that what he learned? And that's the secret forbidden knowledge that he shouldn't have learned in the first place. And Tadashi's like, I'm the one that gave him that knowledge, so I am like the snake in Eden. Like, the Garden of Eden was the garden at the Shindo house, and everything was perfect. And the moment I introduced skateboarding, that's what started us off on this path and started Adam down this road. Because it's kind of, oh my god, yeah. It's all the biblical allegory. Like, if the father, if Inosuke-sama, or Nosuke, Shindo-sama, the dad, Inosuke's father, if he's the representation of God in this, and he's like, and skateboarding is the forbidden knowledge you're not supposed to have, then Tadashi's the one that introduced Adam to it. He gave him the forbidden knowledge, and then it got out of hand. Something happened that Inosuke, his father, found out and was like, no, you can't have this knowledge anymore, and he burned the skateboard to try to cleanse him of it. And Tadashi's like, this is the whole issue. Like, Tadashi is the snake in the Garden of Eden. He gave the forbidden fruit to Adam. Oh my god, but I wanted to go back and watch the skate, not because I'm a masochist and I want to see Cherry suffer again, because that was absolutely awful, but Adam at this point, he gets ahead of Cherry. Is he going to make a move here? And Adam's been contemplating this whole time and thinking about what he's going to do, and then right as he passes Cherry, it's like he's made up his mind. And he starts doing the dance, and it's the Matador dance. It's the Matador dance, the very flamboyant dance, but he's not saying anything. That's the show, and the audience is like, oh, he's dancing. The Matador of love has arrived. And yeah, he does that, and Cherry's like, Adam, you can't take me down. And, you're too optimistic, Cherry. And we see the horn, and oh my god, I lost it. You guys, he grabbed the board and he just point blank hit him with it. In the face! In the face! Like, wrecked his face mask, and that cracked the image of all them together. And his hair coming out. And Joe, like, everybody has a bad reaction, but Joe, Joe's like, yep. And that's almost worse that Joe has no reaction. And then Adam saying, your skateboarding has no surprises. It's over-calculated, so it never crosses the line. And then, you want to know why I didn't respond to your beef? Because you're too boring. And that's like, oh, that's so harsh, because it's like, if this has been an unrequited crush that Cherry's had, and he just wanted Adam to tell him why it wasn't reciprocated, for someone to tell you, if you've ever liked somebody, if you've ever been in a relationship with somebody, or you've ever liked somebody, and then you broke up, or you split up, something happened and you weren't together anymore, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I have. The first thing that you naturally want to think is, what did I do wrong? Like, was I boring? You know, that's a thought that comes across your mind. You're like, was I boring? Did I do something wrong? What was it? And that's often not the case. It's often for a number of reasons that are complicated and complex and hard to just simply define. But, you know, human nature, that's one of the thoughts you go to. You're like, oh, crud, was I just boring in this relationship? And that moment where he's like, your skating is overcalculated, it's predictable, it's boring. The look on Cherry's face is like if someone told you that, that'd be exactly the reaction. Like if somebody was like, oh, I broke up with you because you're boring. Gah! And then Adam's like, oh, well, you're not, you know who's not boring? Snow! He's like my Eve. And then at that point, Langa's like, wait, what's happening? What are we talking about? Like, he's like, you should skate forever with me. And I found you. And Langa's like, wait, what? Huh? What's going on? And he's like, Eve. And he just looks like really confused, but he's also like, I need to go find Reki. And then that final scene in the restaurant. So we need to talk about the restaurant. A couple things. I'm assuming we're going to get a flashback next episode of what happened immediately afterwards, because if they don't, I'm going to scream. Like, I need resolution to that, because okay. Yeah, I just, Okay, one, Cherry on the Carla wheelchair. I'm like, did Cherry just anticipate that he was going to need a wheelchair made at some point? He was like, okay, down the road when I'm like 80, I'm probably going to need a wheelchair because it's going to be hard to get around. So, Carla, I'm going to go ahead and make a prototype, and I'm going to sell this prototype to all the assisted living homes and make us a fortune. Makes sense. Totally fine. But I love that Carla is a wheelchair. I love it. I absolutely love it. I hope it has like a charging port and everything on it. Oh, God. But the idea that Cherry, that they drank, basically it's insinuated that they drank a bottle of wine together, which, for the record, if you're injured with possible brain injuries, maybe you shouldn't be drinking, Cherry. It's fine. Maybe it wasn't a concussion. I bet it was a concussion, though. But the idea that he falls asleep and Joe pours a glass and he's like, Adam's skating alone, but we're not alone. And that sweet look he gives Cherry, and he's like, right, Kaoru? And during the match, he called him Kojiro. And it was just like, damn it. So good. You guys, just, I'm just, this episode floored me again. I can't wait to watch it in the dub. I really cannot wait to watch it in the dub. That's going to be a lot of fun. But what I was going to talk about structure. I was going to come back and talk about structure. So I've been thinking about this the last couple episodes. But typically in a story, there is a 3-act structure. And I've been trying to figure out, like, pacing-wise where we're getting to. Because next episode, we've got the Crazy Rock Jam, but then episode 10 is next. So normally you have Act 1 that introduces all of your characters, your plot, your point of view, and your central conflict. That's all introduced in part 1. And part 2 is usually when those characters mingle, they interact, the plot gets going, things build up, and in a drama, Act 2 ends where your characters are at their lowest points. Act 3 is all about the climax and the resolution. So you've built up your characters to their biggest, lowest points, and now they got to all band together, get back up, lick their wounds, and build up to the climax, and then there'll be resolution. So I've been wondering in this series, because it seems to follow a pretty traditional format, like, what's that structure? And I think I figured it out. And I was waiting for this episode to be over to conclude that thought. But I think, for me, episodes 1 through 5, because I was thinking, okay, is it going to be episodes 1 through 4, 5 through 8, 9 through 12, like every 4 episodes, is that going to be a structure? It's a little bit different, but it's close. I think episodes 1 through 5 is part 1. In episodes 1 through 5, we introduce all of our characters. We get Mia's backstory, we get Shadow's backstory, we get Cherry and Joe introduced, and by the end of episode 5, we have Adam introduced, and we at least know about Tadashi. We don't know his name, but we at least know about him, and we have some semblance of the plot, and we have the conflict, which is brewing, which is Reki doesn't want Langa to skate Adam. All of that's established in the first 5 episodes. Episode 6 starts us off in Act 2 and leads us through episode 6 to episode 7 and episode 8. And I wanted to see if this episode concluded what would be Act 2. And I think it does. Because it's such good storytelling. It's so perfect and textbook, and I love it. But our characters right now at the end of this episode are kind of at their lowest point, right? I mean, not Mia and Shadow. I mean, Shadow won, and Mia hasn't faced anybody yet, so they're fine. But Tadashi is worried about Adam, and Tadashi's probably worried because he's on the chopping block and is maybe going to be a sacrificial lamb if all this stuff with Takano goes south. So Tadashi's in a low point. Joe is in a low point because he lost against Langa. He can't fight Adam to defend his friend's honor and defend his own honor. He can't do any of that now. He can only be a spectator in the tournament. So he's at a low point. Reki is at the lowest point possibly, well, except for Cherry. Reki's at an extremely low point. He's just given up his S-Pen and left seemingly the skateboarding world forever. That's low. Langa's an extremely low point because his skateboard is broken. He hasn't made up with Reki, and he's been searching for him, can't find him, and now there's all this confusion with Adam, so he's at his lowest point. Adam is clearly at a low point because he seems more and more desperate after this episode. Like, he was just so physically and viscerally affected by Cherry facing him that by the end it felt like the pageantry, you could feel it being forced. He was like, oh, I found my Eve, everything is fine. It felt so forced and desperate that he's at a low point. And then there's freaking Cherry, who just got waylaid by a skateboard, probably has a concussion and has to be in a wheelchair and can't skate anymore for the time being. Clearly at his lowest point. And just had his potential crush tell him that he was boring and that's why he didn't that's why he didn't reciprocate his love. That's pretty freaking low. So, as we end episode 9, our characters are at their lowest points. So, the good news in all this, the silver lining is, if this is the end of Act 2, then we have episodes 10, 11, and 12 to build to the climax for our heroes to lick their wounds and make their way to the climax and then have the resolution. In 3 episodes. How are we going to do it, Sk8? How are you going to pull this off? That's what I want to know. I'm so floored, you guys, because I'm like, okay, we've got 3 episodes to do the damn thing. So I guess we're going to have Mia versus Tadashi in the next episode. I'm guessing, unless they just off-screen it and just show us like a brief clip and be like, Tadashi won, which would not surprise me, and I'm okay with that, because I like Mia. I don't want to see him Tadashi wouldn't do anything dirty. I think Tadashi, being the opposite of Adam in a way, wouldn't probably do anything dirty, like literally hit somebody in the face with a skateboard, but I think he'd definitely beat Mia. Like, if he's as talented as Adam, he's gonna beat Mia. So then that means, like, how are we doing this? That leaves us with Shadow, Langa, Adam, and Tadashi. It's gonna either be Adam versus Shadow, Adam versus Langa, but then I've got to think about this, because how would we do the matchup? I just want Reki and Langa to make up, you guys. It's episode 7 crushed my soul, and episodes 8 and 9, don't get me wrong, this has been like an enjoyable experience, as insane as it was. Like, I've loved reacting to this episode, and I loved reacting to episode 8, but Reki is crushing my soul. I need him to make up with Langa, and I need it now. I don't know how y'all did this. I've like waited, I have waited a week, but it's been of my own volition. Like, the fact that you guys had no choice is rough. So, next week is the Crazy Rock Jam episode. It's 9.5, and I remember people talking on Twitter about this, because I remember a lot of people were mad because it didn't go straight. I understand why you were mad now. I get that. I was like, why are they all mad? I get now. So what I think I'm going to do is, just like what I did with Jujutsu Kaisen when we had the New Year's Eve special, I did the New Year's Eve special the night before the next episode aired. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this, is that these episodes are coming out on Thursdays. So next Wednesday, either next Tuesday or Wednesday, one of those 2 days, either Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm going to release 9.5, the Crazy Rock Jam, and we're going to do that. And then Thursday, we're going to go straight into 10, because that way you guys don't have to wait an extra week, because that would be cruel. And unlike the palm trees of this show, I'm not going to do that. So, you guys, I've literally talked an hour about this show. Why am I not surprised? They're just getting longer and longer. The season finale is going to be a 2-hour special. No. When we get to the live stream, guys, I don't know. It may be like Banana Fish's live stream. It may be crazy. Or maybe I'll just explode 50 minutes in and that'll be the end of it. I don't know. Anyway, this was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. I know I did. I'm going to go back and edit this video and get it ready. But please feel free to comment down below. Please, no spoilers. You guys have been great about that. But yeah, next week, Crazy Rock Jam and episode 10. Two Sk8 The Infinity episodes in 1 week. It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be wild. And I'm ready for it. So, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, guys, I'll talk to y'all again soon with more Sk8 The Infinity. Bye.